Hello, everybody. Welcome to another walkthrough of an awesome toy show. It is my favorite toy show. It's Trinkets Toy Show. Past one was in Fergus. That's where they usually are, twice a year now. Next one will be in the fall, so check out their Facebook, check out their Instagram for updates on when those will be. And they're also doing, I didn't make it to the last one. Hopefully the next one, though, little social gatherings. So not big, full-fledged toy shows, but like about 100 people show up and it's kind of like a swap meet, sit down and chat. So they're doing that too. And I think that's a really important thing, to get off the internet, go and actually do like awkward handshakes and even more awkward hugs with your fellow nerds. If I ever get to meet you in person, I'm going to give you the biggest, most awkward one of those. What I like to do to people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eric, the man of man, joining Collectivus
Optionalis.
But I like to go, if they go in, they always go in for the handshake. Right? Oh, mercy. They go for the handshake. So I go for the fist bump. And then oh, you have to respect the boundaries of the... So they go for the fist bump. And then I go for the handshake. And they're like, oh, we're a handshake. And then I go for the hug. And then they're like, and then I just laugh.
And then somebody does the stiff body, like when you're going for the hug, and you're like, okay. You can tell in their mind, they're like, no touching.
After I feel like I've had enough of my own laughs, I give them a big hug, and I don't know. I guess I'm channeling Val Kilmer, because that guy was all about, just have as much fun as you possibly can. But thanks for joining for another one of these Trinkets walkthroughs.
Thank you for having me.
And this is the approach to the Fergus Sports Complex, I think it's called.
Looks pretty chill from the exterior.
And I'm using spy glasses, like I was telling you, a camera in a pair of sunglasses, so that I could be hands-free this time.
Nice.
It's always... Oh, and there's the Trinkets t-shirt. So they're going to be selling a different shirt every show. And definitely pick one of those up. This is... He's one of the... he's one of the runners of the... organizers of the toy show, and he's always got an amazing table right there when you first come in there, with VHS tapes and a bunch of figures and bags. Yeah, he's always the only guy within the humanoids.
Nice lino there too. The VHS tapes right at the start, I think those are finally starting to become a little bit like collectible.
I was telling him, like, I like grabbing them just for gifts, because like people I give them to, or like I have no way of playing this, but it sure looks cool on the Blu-ray shelf or DVD shelf.
I have the original Star Wars release on VHS, and then Carla, I got her a couple Christmases ago. I found an ET on VHS. It was like in the slipcase.
Did I give you Blade Runner?
I don't think so. No. That's one of those, though. I mean, I'm a big Blade Runner fan.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
But that would be a cool one. I've owned so many different copies of that film over the years. It's so funny.
Oh, there was more than one version of Blade Runner?
Slightly.
Did you detect the sarcasm?
The original director's cut. Yeah. In fact, the ET right back there in the slipcase. That's like the exact one I got Carla, and I bought it in the States too. So it's probably like a North American version. Yeah. Have you ever looked at VHS machines now? It's like, remember for a while, like they were giving them away with like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, like any old tack, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're actually getting expensive now. Like to buy a new one.
I'm not surprised.
They're pricey, yeah.
There's Turtles. We just did a commentary on that not long ago.
Oh, Short Circuit 2.
I love that one. Yeah, I'm not surprised, because there's, every video game system, once it's not trendy anymore, it's, $50 for a Nintendo Entertainment System. But after a while, you start to realize what you've lost. So, I mean, vinyl record players came back. I wouldn't be surprised if people just one day want to pop in a VHS and spend a half hour rewinding the tape when they're done as a vintage He-Man.
Those are always nice to see.
Yeah, so Trinkets, I'm always going on about how much I love Trinkets Toy Show, and a big part is because of the people at the tables. We actually had a good chat, and I had lots of chats when I went there. Every time, just chatting with the dealers about how like the vibe is just so laid back and chill.
Nice.
isn't really that used car salesman, used car lot feel to it. Like, not a single dealer ever feels pushy. Like, come on, it's a good deal. They're just really cool. There's a couple tables where I tell them, like, you're undercharging. This should be more than what you're charging. And they go, like, they're all about paying it forward, right? They and there's Jacob. He was on the channel a while ago with Rob.
I recognize
one of the organizers. Yeah, so he's always got a great table. And one of the things I purchased was
I saw
the A-Wing. And I got the sticker still on it. A-Wing, $25. That's Canadian.
Nice.
Oh,
that's a great price for that.
You know, I kind of don't want to take the price tag off, because that's one of the most attractive things about that whole item for me is that it was $25. And so I bought it like on the spot because I had it years ago and I sold it. And it's one of those ones where it's like, I got a little space left on my Star Wars shelf. If I could have one more vehicle, I'd squeeze an A-Wing in there. And so I buy it, and my buddy that was with me goes, "You didn't even look at it, dude." And I'm like, well, Jacob's good. You know, he's not going to sell me a yellowed, stained piece of crap. But let's pop it open for the video and take a look at it. So you'll see it in a second here.
Nice.
I open it up, and I didn't realize I was buying like basically mint in box. It had never been removed from the cardboard and the plastic baggie inside.
That's the A-Wing and the B-Wing actually are the two Power of the Force 2 like re-releases that I wouldn't mind getting. And I had both of them at one point. B-Wing, I don't know what happened. I had a box of Star Wars stuff that disappeared out of my storage area when I lived in Alameda. It was like a kind of a common storage area, and I think somebody swiped the box. A bunch of stuff was in there.
That sucks.
But
there's more vintage stuff. Like I said, trinkets. I see more 80s, actual proper 80s stuff at Trinkets Toy Shows. There's a Bengali, that's super rare.
Bengali, yeah.
Beautiful condition. And Jacob always has everything so beautifully organized, bagged up, boxed, labeled. You never have to pester him. How much is this? How much is that?
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys that's going to grab his phone and go, hang on a second, I'll tell you how much it costs. And then he goes on eBay, you know.
The Perseus figure, the Clash of the Titans figures, I had that. And I think I had that one. What was that? What's his name? Callisto or Cali, I don't know, something like that.
But
somebody can correct me in the comments.
There's the A-Wing I'm cracking open, and I'm realizing right here, hey, this is mint. Like, dude, this should easily be twice what you charged me, if not 4 times. And he's like, no. He buys collections. A lot of these guys buy big collections, and they go like, it's I'm not losing anything, by selling it to you for this price. They truly believe in paying it forward. So that was my first purchase.
That's great.
There's not an awkward handshake. I was not able to make that one awkward.
Power of the Force 2. So somebody is one of my my wedding gifts. It was actually my trainer at the gym. He goes, hey, I got something for you. And he's let me come over. So he rolls by my house. This is actually like the day after my wedding, and he hands me this big box, and it's stuffed full of carded Power of the Force 2 figures. And he's like, yeah, somebody was selling this on Facebook Marketplace. I just figured you'd want it.
Power of Force 2. Jacob had a bunch there for $10 mint on card. Any day now, they're going to shoot up in value.
Well, you know what? I got rid of all mine a long time ago, and I was like, you know what? It's actually kind of fun to have a whole bunch of these on card again.
Yeah. These are some rare wrestling figures here. Honky Tonk, you hardly ever see him with his guitar accessory. That Rick Rude I picked up is really expensive. There's a second version of Hulk Hogan. And he separates the ones that are a little more rare from the other ones. Really well organized.
Those are one of those toys that I never actually collected. Those I never had any of them, but I think they make a great toy shelf. Those look awesome.
I love them. I love them.
They're really cool toys.
Star Wars cups.
Nice.
Cup toppers. And these are only $5 too. That's another thing I love about Trinkets is like the prices cannot be beat. And that's big reason for that is it's not in Toronto. It's in Fergus, which is, I don't know, an hour and a half or 2 hours. 2 hours probably outside of Toronto. But I always tell people like the frustration is unjustified. The frustration with toy collecting is unjustified. Just go. Just move. Take a drive. Take a trip, and try different places. Like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. If your local store never has anything, go drive in some little town somewhere. If your toy shows never have anything, just go for a trip to a town like Fergus.
Mike, unfortunately, I do have to point out the irony of saying that to me.
Well, you're the king of just leaving and going to some small.
Yeah. No,
you went to your own island.
Yeah, I just laugh. And there's nothing like this. There's we have car boot sales and stuff like that. There's nothing like this where I live. There wouldn't be enough people for it.
Nice championship, custom Bray Wyatt championship, and a Toronto Maple Leafs championship. That's the closest they'll ever get to a championship. Cool. I wish they'd win, but. The story is always, I don't know if you've heard about the Leafs, but the story is always, and I get this from all Leaf fans, they sell too many tickets for the management to ever put any more money into the team.
Yeah.
They're always selling out seasons passes, and people keep going to watch them lose.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would we buy expensive players when people are happy with,
Hey, a fun night is a fun night. We had the River Cats, Sacramento, the River Cats where I used to live. They were, it was like a, minor league team, minor league baseball team. We used to go all the time to see River Cats games. It was just as fun as going to like a Giants game, Oh, that's cool. Oh,
I thought you'd recognize that.
I love those. Yeah, those old Fisher Price Adventure People toys. Those are cool.
Yeah, I remember I saw one of those at the Woodstock Antique Mall. Inside the moon set or something. And
so that my brother had that boat and that car, the race car right next to it. I had that when I was a kid. That was part of the AJ Foyt race set, I think it was.
So I always ask every dealer, like I'm doing a video here. Oh, look at this, a GoBots
cool
model. It's a model,
like
and it was only $5.
Oh yeah, that would have been a solid buy for me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I always ask the dealers, I'm doing a video here in my sunglasses. First of all, is that okay? And they go, well, yeah, of course. And there's a GoBots playset too. And then I ask, do you want to be in it? And most of them go, no. No thanks. They don't want to be YouTube famous. And I can understand, I was YouTube famous a couple of years ago there for a weekend. It's not all it's cracked up to be. That and $2 will get you a coffee.
Mask, that's a cool looking board game.
Yeah. Sean actually sent me his a few years ago as a gift. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I was not as blown away by and there's Moses. Yeah, I'm not really into the religious action figures. It's not my thing.
I have a Bob Ross action figure somebody gave me that I'd rather enjoy on my toy shelf right up here, if you can see it. Right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right there. I dig that one. Bob Ross is practically religion for me.
For some reason, I saw that I believe that was a Toys R Us. I'm like, what is this doing here? There's no reason for a Bob Ross action figure to be here. And
so Carla, when she saw it, she was like, "It comes to the squirrel." She's like, "Can I have the squirrel?" It's like, no, the squirrel's got to go with Bob.
So I'm digging through the bins here, and I think that this is where the dealer comes over. He's like, "Start digging through there, like this is how you do it."
That's awesome.
There's another non-awkward handshake. The guys that I recognize and they recognize me, we're past the whole fist bump, no handshake, no fist. They don't fall for it anymore.
And everyone's got those the vintage Star Wars figures. Obviously I'd be picking through this. I'm on the vintage Star Wars figures though. I'm on the last 17, which basically means I'll never get them because they're all in like hundreds of dollars now.
Right.
Although I have a feeling that may.
Well, would you be fine with getting the Hasbro reissues?
If they brought them out, I'd get those in a second.
Plastic is plastic.
Yeah, I don't care. It looks right. I mean, some of mine are the reissues, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I guess I'm one of those few people that really couldn't give a rat's ass, to be honest with you.
They're not precious gems.
Yeah, it's what it looks like. It's not what. What is that? That's
Robin Hood from Prince of Thieves. Kevin Costner.
Costner.
Asking my buddy if he wanted a Kevin Costner figure, and he said, "Sure don't."
I always thought that'd be a fun kind of niche to collect. If you collected like action figures of one actor, like you only. Yeah, like you only collected Arnold Schwarzenegger figures.
It's the only reason I bought a Jurassic it was either Jurassic Park or World. Goldblum, Jeff
Oh,
Goldblum.
yeah.
The only I don't have any Jurassic Park toys. I've never had any, but I saw one at a toy show. It's Jeff Goldblum. I'm like, I'm gonna have a Jeff. And honestly, I've never bought the Batman Forever Kenner toys, but if I saw a Val Kilmer, Bruce Wayne, I'd grab that. No, there's Jesse Ventura, the man who stole everything from superstar Billy Graham. I'm gonna see Superstar a little bit later on. That's Hercules. The mighty
I
Hercules.
thought it looked like Hercules. I didn't know that was the actual wrestler dude.
Bobby the Brain,
that character.
Terry Funk, the Funker, and his prices are all so low. I was telling him, dude, your prices are half what they should be, but maybe I'm used to Toronto prices. Because again, I'm not even saying like raise it to make a profit. Like they're really like I'm talking like 2000s prices.
Yeah,
here. It's a real trip back in time. They're all resetting the prices back to when I first got back into toy collecting.
Roddy Piper right there, I think, right?
Yeah.
Those wrestling figures, it's amazing because, like, I watched wrestling when I was a kid, like 80s wrestling. I don't think there's anything will ever beat it. That was just 80s wrestling was awesome. Like the era of those toys.
Those toys were like amazing that you couldn't break them. Like, you could wear the paint off of them, but you couldn't break them, and that was worth a lot to be able to smash and bash a toy and not be able to break it.
There's a part of me, if I saw those and they're all pretty reasonably priced, I feel like I might have come home with some of them, at least like a Hulk Hogan or something like that. That they're one of those toys that you absolutely cannot distinguish from the 80s. For me, it's like like
and there's
GoBots.
There's a great new line too. There's a wrestler named Matt Cardona, and he's such a fan of them that he started his own line. He's calling them Big Rubber Guys, and they're exactly like the old ones. The same style of sculpt. He's getting a lot of legends to
I like that.
Sign deals, so they're making figures of some legends that never got a big rubber figure back in the 80s, and it's like, oh, this should have been a thing.
Ooh, there's some neat pins in there.
Nice buttons, pins. Huh. Oh, and this Adam West.
That's cool.
18-inch Adam West, second biggest Adam West figure I've ever seen.
I've never seen. I know who makes that. Was that a McFarlane or was that a? It's McFarlane that's doing that now, right? The Batman show.
Yeah. That might have been. I don't know. I won't even guess.
That's interesting.
And there's these bubblegum cards here to the side.
Nice. Oh, I love those.
There's so many of them, still with gum in them. Although the seller advised not eating the gum.
Oh, and he's got those little, the little budget toys on the side. I've got a few of those.
These?
Yeah, those are I believe that you get them at like dollar stores and stuff like that. They're kind of one of those little.
That's what they are.
I've got a couple of them.
They looked vintage to me, but I mean they're new in vintage style.
Yeah. Oh, I love trading. I used to love packs of trading cards. There was a gas station on the corner from where I lived, like 2-3 blocks from where I lived, and that was the big thing is you'd save a quarter. I think they were like a quarter a piece at the time. You can go down and buy a couple packs of trading cards.
It's hard, I guess, for people today who, they have their phones and their tablets and their TVs and stuff. But like this was reading material for us, comics and these cards that on the back, they'd have the Alf cards. They'd have all sorts
Growing Pains. I didn't even know they made those. Yeah, they had trading cards for everything.
Fun facts on the back. It was like like Wikipedia, basically, in a bubblegum card.
I love that. We'd bring them to school, and we would literally trade them. It was a great concept.
Because you'd get spares, and the other guy would have the spare you need, and it was really cool. Nothing like it today anymore, I don't think.
Well, it's like with everything. I think it's become such an adults collector thing. I think sometimes there's some that kids are buying, like even the Pokemons that were like adult stuff. Yeah. I found Garbage Pail Kids 4 or 5 years ago. They'd re-released a bunch or done some new ones, and I was actually pretty excited. And I feel like I bought some. I don't know what happened to them though.
Garbage Pail Kids.
I loved those. Garbage Pail Kids and Wacky Packages. I loved those when I was a kid.
There's some old Western style figures.
I have no idea what those are.
Captain Maddox. The one on the left kind of looked like John Wayne.
Yeah.
And these nice folks have a store, so there's the info on the card there.
David looks like now that'd be the kind of retailer I would expect to have some of those like Mark's toys,
right?
Yeah. That I would give that a careful look.
and Transformers, and these were all immaculately
nice.
packed in. Like some of them still had their instructions and unused sticker sheet.
That's cool.
So that it doesn't get much more mint than the original unused sticker sheet is included.
Yeah.
You can see the sticker sheet right in there for Galvatron.
That's incredible.
There's a couple of Jetfires in there too.
Jetfire.
Yeah. He had two. One was yellowed, and then the other one was white. And I'm pulling it out here because I'm saying, hey, this guy goes on top. I don't know if you know anything about Transformers, but this particular fellow.
One of these days, I'll get that Jetfire. I mean, I have the Japanese, Rick Hunter Veritech, or Hikaru, Veritech. So I'm close, but that's a cool toy. I always coveted that when I was a kid.
I'm telling him here, like, these go on top.
Yeah.
You might not know everything about Transformers, but
this isn't Twin Twist here. You put this one on top.
Yeah, this isn't Ramhorn.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Wheelie here. Nice people, really nice folks.
The thing about a show like this too, and you'll probably agree with me, is this kind of show. It's just sort of good vibes. Everyone's cool. Everyone's relaxed. It's
totally good.
Yeah,
that was the important part. Like I said, the lack of the pushiness. And there he is. Where's my belt?
Oh yeah,
I gotta grab.
Nice.
The championship of the Superstar, brother. I don't have a lot of Superstar toys because they haven't made a lot of Superstar toys. I've got the two of the little Mattel modern figures that they've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never picked up. Those were the older ones from the 2000s. And there's the Light Cycle, original NECA Light Cycle. And this is another great dealer.
Yeah.
At the show.
I've seen a couple of those, the retailers that have had the Kenner Super Powers line, the Kenner DC figures. Those are another one that I haven't collected, but they look awesome on a shelf. That's like the set of them looks really cool.
I'm trying to put this thing up to the lens, even though I'm not sure where the lens is, and see through the eye. I think for the rest of my life, my whole life, and probably for the rest of my life, anytime I see one of those bionic, and there's some Battlestar, Dirk Benedict and Lauren Green, but anytime I see a Bionic Man, I gotta pick them up and look through the eye.
Yeah.
That's just what you do, Cylon. So yeah, great vibes here, and it's all because there are no pushy sellers, or at least I didn't see any. They're just smiling and happy to be there, and they're not looking to fillet your wallet or anything like that. A couple of guys, I try to haggle them up. I'm like, look, man, it's trust me, it's really, I'm not a toy dealer, but it's really low. And they're like, no, it's fine. We're having fun here.
That's a great.
Not too fast for you.
That's cool.
I think the timing of it was a little off. There's some G.I. Joe dolls.
Nice. That's like the G.I. Joe.
Now, that's not to say I like the big shows too. I like going. Mississauga does a couple every year. Oh, and there's one of the organizers of the show. It's Robbie. He's also a stand-up comedian. Catch him in the Tri-City area. Holding the Superstar there. Tell him to do the double buy. Great guy. Really, really good dude. Oh, fist bump.
Hey, you got it.
I gave him a handshake and a hug after. It's Buck Rogers by Titan Toys.
Yeah.
No,
I loved so that Buck Rogers fighter, whatever they call it, I forget what it's called. I wanted that so bad when I was a kid. I thought that was the coolest looking ship.
That show lasted about 2 years, right?
Yeah, it was like 2 seasons. Yeah, I loved that show when I was a kid. I had all the figures. I had the Tweaky and Wilma and Buck and all those guys. I loved that show.
In the some really cool 3D printed stuff here. In doing my research for the Inhumanoids video I'm doing, the guy, the guy behind the story of the cartoon, Flint Dille, his grandpa was the original, what do they call him? The original publisher of Buck Rogers.
Really?
Yeah, he's the original syndicator or whatever it's called of Buck Rogers. So Flint Dille is involved with everything that happens with Buck Rogers these days. He's part of the whole Buck Rogers Trust.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Like I've always known Flint Dille for his work on G.I. Joe and Transformers and Inhumanoids and Visionaries, and it turns out he's, part of the whole Buck Rogers dynasty as well. Legacy.
Buck Rogers is a property that I'm convinced they could do a really awesome show nowadays out of. I'm surprised they haven't resurrected that.
Totally. Western in space. I'm a big fan of Western in space, but it feels like they fail more often than not. But I don't know. But I was always more interested in Buck Rogers than Flash Gordon. They always get grouped together, but Buck always kind of seemed more like Han Solo to me.
I do like the 70s Flash Gordon movie, though, the old one with the Queen soundtrack and everything. That was a great movie. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
There's some board games, and coming up on another table here with this guy is just the nicest guy, Michael or Mikey. Every time I chat with him, he always has something to show me. He's always so enthusiastic to show things that he bought himself. He's a fan. He's not just a dealer, but he just picked this up for himself. A mint condition Krull board game. And he's nice enough to open it up and show it off. And
he's cool.
He's just got such a great heart to like a show and tell type of, attitude of like, check this out. This is so cool. Beautiful, never used. I didn't know Krull was a board game, but there it is.
One of the few pieces of merchandise, I imagine.
Yeah,
other than maybe with Krull wigs, hair.
You'd think they would have done was it the glaive? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the glaive. Yeah.
And he also picked this up too, the Secret Wars, Doctor Doom, Tower of Doom.
Maybe somebody will contradict me, but I've heard that's actually a really rare playset.
I believe it is. Yeah, I think that's why he was showing it to me. You don't see these and
boxed as well. Yeah,
and he just grabbed it right at that show. So it's nice that the dealers can actually go around and be collectors as well.
It always staggers my mind when I see stuff like that in the box. Like, who kept that in? I mean, maybe some kid somewhere would put it in his box in his closet or something like that. But it's like the fact that any of this stuff in boxes survived. I mean,
it wasn't done. It wasn't normal. It wasn't a typical thing to do. We threw it out.
Yeah, when I ripped into my Transformers or some G.I. Joe stuff, I remember I just would shred the box open. I don't care about the box.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't throw the toys out. After an evening.
Well, I used to take all my toys outside and stuff and play in the sand.
This one's for you.
Oh, nice.
Shogun Puzzle.
Shogun Puzzle, nice.
I thought you'd enjoy this.
I love those. Yeah, that was one of my. That Mazinger was one of my, or Trans or Z, whatever.
Now he said it was complete, but how can you be sure?
I guess unless you take it out and count it, maybe.
As long as it's sealed. Yeah, if it's sealed, it's you can trust that it's complete.
Yeah, those
Bat Bucks.
Bat Bucks. That's interesting.
Now this was another one of my pickups. Ooh. He had a comic bin there, and for years I've really wanted to pick up a bunch of Transformers comics because I had a bunch of the Marvel Transformers comics. But they've just all exploded in price.
Yeah.
And they were selling everything in this bin for $2 a comic.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you can't be serious. And so I picked up a whole mess of Transformers comics I used to have as a kid. And now I got a bunch. Well, I got a couple of other ones too. Air Raiders. What we got here?
Well,
Mask.
That's cool. Well, you know what? In my opinion, and
I'm this for obscure Power Lords.
Power Lords. Oh wow.
So yeah, I grabbed some Transformers, but also some stuff that I think I already have, but makes great gifts too.
Well, yeah, and you know what the fun thing about those kind of comics like that, like the little Transformers or whatever, when you're collecting an entire run of a book, like an old book that is finite, there's 100 issues.
80. We're 1 to 80.
Yeah, it's like a friend of mine, he's been collecting the entire run of the original Fantastic Four before they rebooted it,
Yeah.
And he's got almost all of them. He's down to the early issues that are a whole lot of money, and that he's finding as he finds a good deal on him, he'll grab one.
Yeah.
but that, to me, that's the way to do it. Like Transformers comics, I mean, none of them are that expensive. Maybe issue 1 might be.
Yeah.
But
so I want to mention here, hold that thought. Ernie Coombs was Mr. Dress Up in Canada. Never knew these existed, but they're activity and coloring books for Mr. Dress Up in Canada. And for people in the States who don't know, because he was the Canadian Mr. Rogers.
Gotcha.
And he was a gentleman who, when he passed away, the world got a little darker. Canada certainly got a little darker when he passed away. He was just, I was going through this with Mikey standing there, and my buddy was there with me, and everyone, when we see his picture in Canada, we just we feel warm and fuzzy. We all get a warm fuzzy feeling whenever we see Mr. Dress Up. So that was cool to
nice
to see a Mr. Dress Up activity book. But yeah, with the comics that you were saying, I don't want them all. I don't want to collect them all. My collecting motto in life is don't collect them all. But man, I am ecstatic that I have a giant chunk, because I went from like almost nothing, almost no Transformers comics. A couple of the ones I kept from my childhood or teenagehood, I kept like the important issues, like issue 75, the final issue 80, a couple of those. But now I've got like some of the ones from the mid 80s. I believe, that's one of the harder ones to get, I think, with Circuit Breaker on the cover. Yeah,
I have an issue number, I think it's 8. It has Shockwave on the cover. It's up behind my Darth Vader helmet, where it's like Transformers are all dead. He has and that's one of my favorite.
Dead.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite comic book covers.
So I got to meet Bob at the last TF Con Toronto, and signed by.
Oh, dude, that's rad. Yeah, that's rad. Yeah, I have that comic framed right up there. Yeah,
it's funny how many people see that issue cover and they go, "Whoa!" Like that is not your typical run-of-the-mill monthly comic cover. That was like a movie poster.
Super striking. Yeah, nice.
Speaking of superstar, brother, man of the hour, got him in his salmon. It's supposed to be tie-dye, but technology was limited at the time. And then in his jeans, ready to work on a construction site in the pile driver video. And so I didn't actually grab a lot of things at this past show. I never do. It's always more about hanging out, chatting with people, catching up, than
that's a good score.
Acquiring anything. But there's the big acquirement next to the comics is this beautiful A-Wing that I used to have, and now I have it again. And like, holy cow. Guy is he's still wrapped in there with a wire. Like this is never used. So
in my opinion, that is the way to do a Star Wars ship. That one, there were no stupid electronics. It was more or less it was an accurate shape. The scale looks right. It's like that was a really well done Star Wars ship. And I think wasn't it part of Droids originally? It wasn't part of the Power of the Force.
You're right. Line. I was going to ask you, did the original one have electronics? But no. I think it was released under Droids, which wouldn't have been electronic.
Correct. Yeah,
I think. And then, eventually with the Power of the Force. But I really like the score, because I say it a million times. I didn't grow up on Kenner Star Wars toys. So when they put like scoring and battle damage on it, it doesn't bother me. It looks better to me than the original one. So yeah, but it's I got a perfect spot for that next to the Falcon.
Yeah, I think most of the Star Wars ships they did, that like the updated ones that Hasbro did, they would take and add some electronics, which were like, but for enough of them they had that were more or less just the same.
They were doing Origins before Mattel was doing Origins. Yeah. Is really Hasbro kind of started that by taking the old one and let's tweak this. Let's fix this hinge a little bit, this cockpit. Maybe if we just strengthen this a little bit.
So just a couple of things.
I'm not sure if any company had taken and dusted off and upgraded just slightly, not overboard, an old line.
Well, the only two they never re-released in the Power of the Force 2 line was they never released the Cloud Car for the longest time, because they like didn't have the tooling for it. The tooling got destroyed. And I think the same thing for the Tidarium shuttle, which was always one of my absolute favorite favorite Star Wars vehicles. Which oddly, even like I collect the little the Bondi model kits. They haven't even released a Titanium shuttle, which I'm like kind of like, why don't they release that? I just think it's the coolest design for a.
It was
ship.
humongous. I had one of the whatever the. I don't think it was Power of the Force, but Saga or one of those newer lines, 90s or aughts, 2000s did it, and I couldn't believe how humongous it was.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons I got rid of it, was because I wasn't expecting this thing to be like one of the biggest vehicles in my entire toy collection, and I couldn't justify, like, Sky Striker. I love it. I'll justify the space for it. Ginormous AT-AT and a ginormous Tidarium. I'm like, I love Star Wars, but I mean, I'll justify the space for the big Millennium Falcon, but like a giant Tidarium that's in the movie for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, a guy at work that I used to, like, at one of the other game studios I worked at, he used to buy like the biggest Star Wars toys. Like he had that gigantic Millennium Falcon. He had that gigantic AT-AT. That gigantic AT-AT, it was incredible. It's like the size of a Labrador.
I had
it's crazy. I mean, it's a cool toy. I would have absolutely lost my what over that toy when I was a kid, but it was just like stuff that big. I just always thinking, I'm like, God, where would I put it?
It was epic, and it took a while to decide to get rid of it, but after a while I was like, it's taken up space that like a big Fortress Maximus could be taking, or the classics Grayskull. Other stuff comes along and you're like, okay, do I want a giant AT-AT or a giant Grayskull? It's like, it's Grayskull all day for me. But every time I see it, I go, whew, that is impressive.
The Grayskull is one of my toys, because even though I'm a Star Wars fan, I don't think I'd put an AT-AT up in here anywhere. It's just too big. But Grayskull has a lot of character, that's what I like about those toys. And plus, like, the story with me, it's like I was never allowed He-Man toys when I was a kid, so they're sort of like, ooh, He-Man toys, look at all the He-Man toys. Like, I have my little He-Man toy display, so I'm gonna make everybody sick doing this, is right here, lit up, and I just think they're really striking looking.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they're under like kind of it's not a UV light, but it's a blue light, and it really makes them glow nice. They just look really pretty. And then right next door is my vintage Star Wars guys.
Oh wow.
So, yeah,
that looks fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's a nice little display set. But I don't know, the He-Man stuff and the retro collection the classics, whatever they're called. They did a really good job. Origins, yeah, they did a really good job, like, capturing the essence of the original toys. That's what I like so much about this.
Yeah, without going too far.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad Big Rubber Guys, the new LJN style, don't have joints. Like, I'm sure they're tempted. Like, what if we just put in an elbow joint? No.
That was the whole point of those, is that they're just big slabs of rubber. You could probably knock somebody out with one of those.
I'm sure that happened. I'm sure that happened. Me and some friends did a little comedy short film years ago, and it was all wrestling related because we're all big wrestling fans. And so there's a character in wrestling named Jim Cornette, and he was this rich kid. Mama Cornette always spoiled him with all the money, and his gimmick was he carried around a tennis racket, and he would knock people out with the tennis racket because it was loaded. There was like a metal barbell plate in there or something. Some kind of metal plate, because he would smack you with the racket and the wrestler would go down like a ton of bricks.
Funny.
Ton of bricks, and it was probably empty, but that was the idea. So we did this comedy short where one of the guys had a tennis racket and he hits someone and knocks him out, and then he unzips the cover and he pulls out one of those WWF LJN King Kong Bundy figures, which was notorious for breaking all the rings. That one in particular was just a lug. It was just this spud of rubber, and you would pile drive your ring and crack your ring because of King Kong Bundy. Like, so many people I've talked to said, yeah, it was Bundy that did it. All that smashing and bashing, but Bundy did it. So in that scene we did, he was obviously pulling out King Kong Bundy to knock, and about 3 people got the joke, but it was worth it.
Well, I'll bet you if you're somehow able to ask him Bundy himself about it, he'd probably be proud of that.
It's gonna be hard because he passed away.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure he would be if he knew about it. But yeah, so that's the latest Trinkets walkthrough. And thanks again, Eric, for walking through it with me.
Oh, thanks for having me again. These are always good fun. And they're just a spectacular chance to live vicariously and experience all these things I can't do anymore.
Well, one of these days, man. One of these days. When are you going to get up to Canada?
I will for sure, with my new job, be making it up to Toronto, probably this year, I'm sure, at some point. So I will make sure that we can hang out. That'd be great.
Oh, man. And when you do, it's on like Tron.
In fact, I don't want to rub it in, but some of my teammates are actually there in Toronto right now, and if it wasn't that it was just after my wedding, I probably would have been there too. But
and there's always something going on in the Toronto area, like some kind of toy show, some kind of Comic-Con, Fan Fest, just like in the area. And then even further than that, it really does seem like there's 2 or 3 a month going on here. So we'll be able to actually do one walking through. I just got to meet Bob last week. He did so cool stand-up comedy at Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is such a beautiful town. Really beautiful town. I tell everybody it looks like a brand new university. Like it's all like really nice architecture, and there's not a lot of people like even at night walking around. And then like we were this one guy was saying he was walking over the bridge at night, and there's a group of young guys walking behind him, and he was like, "Oh, am I in trouble here?" And someone goes, "Hey, excuse me, sir, would you mind taking a picture of us all together?" Like that's Grand Rapids. It's just chill and really good vibes. Really beautiful town. And
glad there's still places in the U.S. that have good vibes.
And then a few days after I visited there, I heard they got hit by an ice storm and the power went out. I'm like, oh man.
It was nasty like a week or two ago. I heard a whole bunch of people like it was bad. But they survived, I guess. So
and maybe I'll be as underwhelming when we meet in person as I was for Bob, because Bob said he did a little video about his trip to Grand Rapids, and he said meeting Double M was it was underwhelming, in the sense that, I mean, it's just the guy I know from the streams. There's zero difference. There was like you're just sitting there talking as if we're talking on a stream, and like that's pretty much what it felt like. You know, there wasn't any
well, I
just frankly kind of picked up where we left off.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if it was different than we're just hanging out talking on the screen. That's good.
Man, this guy's fashion sense in person is horrible.
You're gonna meet me, or you're gonna be like, "Wow, you're fat.
Why are you wearing a tuxedo?"
That's good.
Right, we're gonna sign off here. Do you have anything to plug?
No, nothing to plug. No socials, no nothing these days, but that'll come back.
Eric's here to plug the channel. You've been a big part of my channel for years now, and I appreciate. Always great.
I love being a part of your channel. Thank you.
Very appreciative. All right, see you guys. Nerd will stay.
Nerd will stay.